Well, I'm Orville Daniels, and I know Alika because we're married and have been for many years. Gardening's been a very important part of my health routine. I had heart troubles for about 40 years. Eating healthy was real important for my health, and it has made a big difference. I still have the disease. I can't get rid of it. It's inherited. I also have type 2 diabetes, and so I need to eat very well. And having the availability of fruits and vegetables that are locally grown and are organic is very important to me. It allows me to maintain my health.
I decided a long time ago that my responsibility was to make sure that we both eat as healthy as we can. You know, when he had his heart attack, it was real important to me to understand fully what it was that I could do to help him. And Orville and I have spent a lot of time talking together about our menu and how we prepare our meals and what's important. So every week we get to go pick up fresh produce, and then we find ways to cook vegetables, some of which we would have never been exposed to had we not had the CSA. That's been an awful lot of fun.
My name is Bridget. I am one of the 12 gardeners at the 2nd Street Garden. My son died 2 years ago. When I got in the garden, I used the time, as just meditative therapy time. It's just the peaceful quiet of the community garden plot that Garden City Harvest provided was just such a lovely, healthy space. I was able to connect with some of my gardening neighbors. Some of them were working through their own grief, and others just listened and were wonderful partners as I walked forward from a dark place to a lighter place.
Mental health is one of the key reasons why I garden. It's an opportunity to spend time outdoors, somewhere that's relatively quiet. I have a pretty busy, loud job. I teach young children. I think I feel particularly relaxed when I'm in the garden. It's a good place for me to just have time to think, time to unwind, and just be really present. I think it adds to my sense of well-being just to be able to say, I know what goes in my food, and I know what goes in my body, and I know what I'm giving my son to eat. He was able to experience and to understand where his food came from, and he had a willingness to try anything. And I think it really helped him when he was very young develop some really healthy eating habits. One of the biggest things that we can do in terms of preventative healthcare is to provide people with opportunities to have some control and kind of self-determination about what goes in their bodies, which is another large part of why I garden, because I know that the food that we grow is highly nutritious.
How you act now and what you do now is going to affect you when you're 40, 50, 60 years old. It's a matter of good nutrition, and it's also a matter of being physically active. And so gardening really helps with that. Well, when you get down and start weeding, that's good exercise. In my mind, there has been a growing awareness on the part of the medical community about the importance of good nutrition and not eating so much sugar and processed food. It has changed over time, and I've grown with it because we all need motivation. And having your primary doctor help motivate you to change your eating habits, I think is critical.
There's primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention, but the primary prevention is trying to prevent something before it ever happens. Then we have what we call secondary prevention. These are things where we're trying to get the disease early enough in its process that we can change the outcome. And then tertiary prevention is sometimes people also think of it as medical management of a disease. Exercise and nutrition is also prevention. You're trying to prevent a disease before it ever occurs. We do know that, it's good to have a healthy lifestyle with exercise and eating good fruits and vegetables. You're hungry, you need a snack. Are you going to reach for that candy bar or are you going to reach for the apple?
I love the fruits and the herbs and the spices. But the other big benefit of gardening, besides the nutritional things that I take out of it, is the peace and the work and the time and the routine that I am able to experience while I'm gardening. The more work I put in, the more gifts I get out of it.
And I always feel happiest if I have dirt under my fingernails. But I love things like just watching bees emerge from squash blossoms all covered in pollen and stumbling around as they take flight. And, the little details in the garden are as important to me, I think, as what I harvest from the garden. It's important to be connected. My son and I can plant together in the spring. We can harvest in the fall. And I felt when my son was young that the people at the garden were very welcoming to him and to both of us.
I'm a real believer that social relationships are a major part of your mental health. We have a community of friends that we talk to all the time about the gardening. And the more interaction you can have with other people in a meaningful way, the healthier you will be. And community gardens are a wonderful place for that.
Is loneliness a new public health issue with all the electronics and everything else that's going on right now? Is this another area that we need to look into? Where is this whole thing on community and connections and loneliness going to play?
The social contact is very, very, very critical. Maybe one of the most critical things of all.
And you're standing across a table from either one of the farm workers or one of the kids in the youth program, and you say, wow, what's this? And it's a tomatillo. And this young person across the table says, well, you can do this and you can do that. And so that is really fun, and it sort of gets you over that hump of being intimidated by a vegetable you've never seen.
It was an instant community that I became part of. But there's something about just the cycle of working the dirt and working the garden and bringing things to life. I just try to appreciate everything while it's in my presence. Gardening makes me healthier in so many ways.